before I start riffing. Still connecting. If this actually works, I will be genuinely shocked. I will be shocked. I will be aghast, dumbfounded. I will be found dumb. Check 1, 2. It says I'm connected to LinkedIn. I've got no idea if it's actually working. Let's find out. I've got a live event right now. It's on LinkedIn. The future is now. You are in the future. I'm anticipating between 0 and 1.5 views on this live because I've never joined a LinkedIn live. I didn't even know that was a thing. But I tried to go live on YouTube today, and YouTube said, sorry, bro, we need to see your driver's license and registration. We need to see the Carfax on your Honda CRV, and we'll get back to you to see if you are eligible to go live on YouTube. And I can't blame them with my history. I can see why Google might have issue with that. But the original plan was I'm going to test out going live on YouTube because I am starting a podcast where it's going to be a live show primarily. I'm going to upload interview recordings as well as part of that podcast. But I was trying to start a podcast where I go live for a few different reasons. That format suited me very well. And so I was just going to test it today and maybe invite a few people, tell me if it works or not. But YouTube said no. YouTube said, sorry, friend, you can't do that on our platform. And so here I am, apparently on LinkedIn. I'm using Riverside, which is a fantastic software, by the way. It's gotten so good. But I'm using Riverside to stream to LinkedIn right now. I'm streaming live on LinkedIn. How do I even share this? I'm going to email my list right now and see if this is even a thing. It is a thing. Okay, let me see what happens if I share this link to my email list. And I'm just going to say, I'm live right now on LinkedIn. Yes, actually. Trying something new off, new today. Felt cute. Here's the link. If you are a LinkedIn person. Sorry, it's too early for dad puns today, but I couldn't help myself. Okay, I'm going to send this link out and see if anyone joins this. Here's the link. Want to link. There we go. Copy. Drop the link in. Cheers, Blake. All right, continue sending this email. This is great content, by the way. You know what? I want to get out of my inbox today and be productive. Let me just jump on LinkedIn real quick. Oh, let me watch Blake send an email on LinkedIn. That's what I did today. Hey, Steve, what'd you do today? What was your big productive activity today? Well, I went on LinkedIn and I watched a man ramble and send an email to his email list. Okay, so right now I'm sending this email to see if anybody actually joins and can watch this. All subscribers. Sorry, subscribers. I'm about to get a lot of unsubscribes right now just to riff. Continue. Yes, actually. Send broadcast. Okay, there we go. I just sent that. Probably gonna regret it. As a wave of unsubscribes goes through. You know what's so interesting is when I talk to people while I'm on the topic of email marketing, I was able to essentially double my income last year from, in terms of the first 6 months went one way, the second 6 months went another way. And the first 6 months was all about establishing stability. Like, let me just get a monthly recurring rhythm, a monthly recurring revenue rhythm going so that we don't have any freakouts. And then the back half of the year was, how do we actually grow? And what do we want to do to grow? And could we do it in a way where we're working the same or even less than we already are, but making more? And so that was that experiment, and it went very, very well. A little too well, actually. Highly suspicious. And so I've been in the lab trying to double down on those things that worked this year. But I digress. I was talking to someone, a coaching client actually, and she, when I was just telling her sort of about the growth and how things were working and closing clients and things like that, she assumed, that I was like, how many email subscribers do you think that I have? And I think she said something like 10,000 or 15,000 or something like that. a respectable number. And I was like, I literally have like 500 subscribers. It is so small, my list. I haven't done I've never really done a big push to grow my email subscriber base. That's probably a mistake. However, I think the reason I wanted to bring that up is just because you actually don't need a lot of people to buy into what you're doing to have a really great lifestyle business. And by really great, I mean a job that you make that's your own, where you essentially get to be paid for solving problems that you're fascinated by in a manner that you like to solve those problems. So for me, that's the idea that I could do that has always been super appealing, but extremely appealing, in the last few years as I have a son now that's 2.5. My daughter's about to turn 6. So this idea that I could create a lifestyle business where I would start with me and my value system and what me and my wife wanted to create from a family culture standpoint, and then go down from there when it came to, okay, cool, how do we fund that? Okay, well, here's a bunch of different ways we could fund that. Which of those ways is going to be the most sustainable, the most enjoyable? Oh, probably this or this. And then, okay, which of those ways would be the most profitable? And then how could we play with that? And that's really how I got to what I'm doing right now. And this idea that you need to have 5,000, 10,000 followers or email subscribers or whatever, I just haven't found that to be true. I haven't found that to be the case. So I sent this email out. I still think there's literally nobody watching this. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this video. I meant to be on YouTube. Maybe I should have been on Instagram Live or something like that. I've never watched a LinkedIn Live, but I'm an early adopter, I guess. I don't know. I can't see. I don't know if there's comments. I could repost this. I guess. Is this a thing? Can you help? Thanks. Comment if this is an actual thing. Okay, I just reposted this live on LinkedIn. I've got no idea, genuinely. I found out today. Oh, I think there's 4 people watching. I don't know if you could comment. Someone give a thumbs up. Holy crap. Okay, so this is a thing. LinkedIn is so cute right now. I love you for this, LinkedIn. You're not the prettiest girl at the party. You're not. It's adorable. I love it, though. You're watching your YouTubes and your Instagrams and your, you know what? Yeah, we are going to be a business casual, sort of sanitized version of other things that you like to do on the internet so that you could be at work, but still essentially just be on social media like you're going to do at 11 o'clock tonight before you fall asleep anyway. I think that's adorable, LinkedIn. I'm so proud of you. Maybe this goes well. I'll keep doing it. The whole point was to go live on YouTube, develop that long form YouTube content, put that into a podcast, use clips of that on and on and on. YouTube's supposed to be the king for that. Just trying it out. And then they decided, hey, you know what, Blake, you're too sketchy to stream on YouTube. We need to have our whole Google executive team review your driver's license to determine what kind of crazy crap you might put on there and if we'll allow you to do that to our sacred YouTube platform, because you know how high of a standard we have here on YouTube live streams. So anyway, it's not on YouTube today. Maybe I'll do it next week. The idea was Tuesdays at 10. I'm going to start doing a live podcast there on the old YouTube. But here we are. So maybe I'll talk about something actual. We're on LinkedIn, so we should talk about business. My business is exactly what I'm wanting to do, is essentially what I do. So if you're watching this, or I came across your feed somehow and you're like, I don't even know who this jibber jabber person is, and you're wondering, I didn't even know this was a thing live on LinkedIn. It is. Welcome to the future. You're a part of it. But I have exactly 0 qualifications to do what I'm doing probably. I was a music major, not even music business, which is the thing you could do at Belmont University here in Nashville where I went. I was a bass guitar major. And so let's talk business. But over the course of my life, I've always been chasing, well, what would be a really cool job that would allow me to do something I'm fascinated by and I want to grow in? And if I can cover my butt expenses wise and fund a lifestyle that I like, that would be awesome. So it started out as music. That was the coolest thing. That was my fallback plan, actually. If you think that was risky, that was my fallback plan once the Chicago Bulls didn't draft me as to be a point guard. I'm still holding out hope. LeBron's 40. I'm not there yet. So, there's a chance. But that was my fallback plan. That's what I did in my 20s. And then to be honest, I just started comparing myself to the other bass players, musicians that I was traveling with. And I was like, I listen to like entrepreneurship podcasts for hours at a time in the back of this van as we're touring across the United States. And I don't really care about a lot of the stuff that y'all care about. I don't think this is going to work out long term for me. I think I'm going to get bored. And so I chased down podcasting, believe it or not, and I actually thought I was late to the trend. This was 2013. I thought I was behind. I was a decade early, actually, it turned out. But back then, it was easy to get 5,000 to 10,000 people to listen to your podcast pretty quickly. And that's what I did. And then that led me to a windy road of chasing down, how do I get more people to listen to podcasts? I got to learn how to do marketing. So then I would study marketing. Then, oh crap, I need to eat. Maybe I should edit other people's podcasts. So I did that for a little bit. Then I eventually landed a job with a marketing agency. My logic was, if I can talk myself into a sales job, maybe I could also do this job of sales and business development. That was halfway true. I was able to talk myself into that job. However, I sucked at it because I had no skills and a ton of fear and weird ideologies that held me back. I'll pause that story now because I have here a list of potential topics to riff on. I don't know if you guys can comment, if anyone's watching. I don't think my mom's on LinkedIn, so my one viewer that I was banking on probably isn't watching. I can't see any comments. There's a spot for comments here, I think. It says, be the first to comment. Am I going to be the first? How sad would that be if I was the first to comment? I'm not above that, though. Hey, Blake, where'd you get that sweet sweater? I think this is from Target. Thanks, Blake. Thanks for commenting. All right. So on that note of being bad at sales, I actually, in my last full-time job a few years ago, I was doing sales, selling high-ticket coaching and high-ticket corporate training for Full Focus. You might know Michael Hyatt, Prince of Productivity himself. And I was not particularly good in that I was pretty consistently, I would say, the lowest in terms of production of our little sales team, small little sales team. I usually was in last place. And so I'm very aware of what doesn't work. However, one of the things I put on here, even though I wasn't very good, I think I probably closed in the few years I was there, maybe about 3.5 million in sales. And so I was able to close something, right? And so if you, like me, maybe never thought you would have to sell, but now you're realizing because you're in consulting or you're trying to sell coaching or you are the business, that's really who I like to talk to because that's my life, that's my lived experience, and that's where I have a lot of experience to share, or I hesitate to say expertise per se because I'm very much in the game. But my clients typically are those types of folks. They're really good at a thing, but now they're realizing, oh, wait a second, I think I actually need to be better at sales if I want to grow my team because I have to sell people to be a part of this team at a price point that I'm willing to invest in them. Or I need to learn to sell better because I want to bring in more money and close more deals. And I want to offload sales, but I can't offload sales to someone because they will not care as much as me. And if I don't have a template for how to sell to this market, it's not going to go well. So anyway, you've learned that you've got to learn how to sell, but maybe that's not what you aim to do. Maybe you didn't want to be a salesperson. Maybe, like me, when you were 8 years old and you asked Dad, what do you do? And he says, well, son, I sell management services to hospitals. And you go, oh, so sales is boring. And I don't want to do that. Maybe you made a vow to not be in sales. But now you find yourself having to. I want to give you this is point 4. So if this topic sucks, don't worry, I've got a few more. 3 things to stop doing to make sales easier. Okay, so take this all with a grain of salt, right? Because this is the 3 things that I try to not do or stop doing to make sales easier. My experience is a lot of experience selling higher ticket premium stuff. I currently sell coaching and consulting. I've sold for other people, like on behalf of, here's this coach or this person you might work with, selling invisible things, services. I've also sold software as well, but mostly it's invisible services. So take this with a grain of salt, right? But maybe this will be useful to you. No one's commenting. I think I'm watching the live thing, so no one's commenting or thumbs upping. So maybe this is a terrible topic, but again, I'm just happy to be here on LinkedIn Live. This is adorable, LinkedIn, that you do this. So proud of you. So proud of you. Okay. The first thing to stop doing to make sales a little bit easier is probably the hardest. So maybe I'll save that one for the end, actually. The third thing, stop solving or teaching. This is especially hard to do if you are selling, consulting, or coaching, because it is natural when you're having a deep discussion for someone to be like, oh, that's your problem. Hey, guess what? Actually, what your real problem is this, and you need to do this. So you probably want to try this. And the reason this doesn't work is because the sales conversation is less about giving them information, and it's more about empowering them to see their situation clearly. So helping them see their situation clearly, which empowers them to make a decision for themselves about who they want to be and what they want to do about their problem. Who they want to be and what they want to do about their problem. If you start to solve or teach, they cannot get they cannot get that level of empowerment. They can't, because their brain will shift into a different mode, which is trying to understand, trying to absorb information. And what that usually will make them want to do is go, great, now I need time. I need space. Now that you've given me new information, I need to judge whether or not I agree with it. And then I need to test it, maybe. Maybe I need to think about it. But I definitely need space. And I'm out of the place where I'm going to make a decision. So the sales conversation is really just about helping them create some clarity and empowering them to make a decision that they own. And if you try to solve this is so hard because you will see what they're doing wrong and they will misdiagnose themselves. Almost guaranteed, right? If they could accurately diagnose their real problem, they wouldn't be talking to you. So it's very tempting to go, oh, dude, no. You know, like I was talking to a client yesterday about this, and she sells health coaching, fitness coaching to moms. And she was saying, you know, people are just wanting to have like a workout plan and a nutrition plan, but like that's not going to work, because what I know is that they're just going to get busy and not actually follow through and do it. They need to do some mindset stuff to help them fix this. And if you know me, I'm the first guy that wants to talk about mindset and values that. And I walk through that with my clients as well. But I told her, as soon as you do that, you're going to lose them, because you're trying to disagree with them about what the problem is. You're not selling them what they want, and you're teaching them. And then they're going to have to go through this whole process where now they're actually going to have less clarity and they won't be empowered to make a decision. So even though you know that, your job is really to help them clearly state and understand, okay, what do I have a problem with and what is it costing me? And am I ready to make a decision about it that's different than how I've done it before? As soon as you start to solve or to teach, you make that harder for them. Okay, so stop doing that. Stop doing that, Blake. Take some of your own medicine, sir. Okay, I've got 2 more of these items for things to stop doing to make sales easier. So let's get back to on topic here. 3 things to stop doing to make sales easier. Stop solving, stop teaching. That's 1. The second is stop trying to figure it out. This is a big one. This is a big one for me. Someone gave me there's a thumbs up floaty. So thank you. I don't know who that was. If it was AI, thank you. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to say next to move into the next thing or to bring them along? Trying to figure out what to say or do next to get them to do something, like buy your thing or whatever, takes you out of the present moment, takes you out of listening. It takes you out of service mode and kind of makes it about you and what's the next thing I got to do to whatever. And it creates tension internally, trying to figure it out. And that tension, it doesn't mean you're not going to close the deal or something, but it certainly is perceivable. Even if the prospect wouldn't be able to articulate that to you, that tension, that trying to figure out what's the, oh, okay, so they said this, is it, should I make the pitch? Trying to figure out what's next. And actually, I'll give you a little tip. If you're like, well, Blake, if I don't figure out what's next, how am I ever going to close the deal? A couple things. One, and these are both very, very practical. One is have a checklist. Okay, so a simple checklist that's just, think of it like going to a doctor's office, and the person before you see the doctor, the nurse is like just going through the checklist. I know this has a name. I'm forgetting what this is called right now, but they're like, okay, do you have, how many drinks do you have every week? And how many blah, 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 those things. They're just checking boxes. Having a little checkbox map is very helpful, a little checklist, because you're just like, you could stay in the present moment. And then when there's a pause or whatever, you could just go, oh, you know what? I forgot to ask this thing about if you have a business partner, or if you're married, or if there's somebody else that might want to give some input into this choice you're about to make. I don't have a checkbox there. So we haven't talked, like you could literally just be dumb about it. Be like, oh, I'm trying to make sure we cover all the bases. Because what I found is that if I cover all these bases, the person I'm talking to has a ton of clarity and they can make a decision that's best for them, which is really what I'm here to do with you, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, right? So having a just checklist allows you to stay in the moment, but also not cover something that's going to be really useful to cover. The second thing is just ask them. Instead of you trying to figure out where to go next, oh, if I say this and they say this, then I'm going to go this. You say, oh, okay, cool. Okay, so we talked about this, we talked about this, we talked about this. So where do you think we need to go next? Where should we go from here? Or what do we need to talk about next to help you get some clarity on this? Or, I'm a big part of the reason I'm here is just to make sure that we're clear on this idea of what you're actually trying to solve and if I'm the right fit to solve it for you. And we've covered a lot here, and I appreciate you sharing point 1, point 2, point 3. Where do you think we should go next? Just put it on them. And that'll do two things. One, it'll help them feel empowered, which, by the way, is something we really want them to do. I mentioned earlier that I was one of the worst salespeople in terms of top-line revenue previously. I still closed a lot, but I was one of the worst. But I did have a stat that I was very, very proud of, which was I was far and away the best at retention. Meaning my clients almost never canceled or asked for a refund, and they often renewed. And I attribute that to this thing, which is the more you empower the person on the front end of the call, the more they're going to own the journey with you, which makes for a better client experience. So the less you try to figure it out, you don't have to be a wizard, and you won't accidentally convince them. You don't want to convince people, because then you're going to have to convince them every step of the consulting or coaching journey to do the thing you told them to do the thing that you're coaching them up to do, to finally make the thing, right? Meaning they're going to get worse results. It's going to take more of your energy. Then you're going to be like, I suck as a coach or a consultant. It actually started in the sales conversation because you thought you had to figure it out. You don't have to. Put it on them. What do you need next? What would be helpful next? Is there something that we haven't covered that we ought to? Where should we go from here? Let them tell you. You're still the leader, right? Because you're asking the questions, but you don't have to figure out, oh, what do they need next, right? Okay. Last thing, 3 things to stop doing to make sales easier. Again, I'm talking about consulting, coaching, selling invisible things primarily. Although this probably applies to all sales. Maybe you've heard this one before. Stop personalizing. Stop personalizing. This is hard for me. It's probably hard for you if you've ever been in a real sales conversation, at least in the early goings. And when I say personalizing, I mean, one thing that really makes sales hard isn't I didn't know what to say, or I wasn't sure what to price it at, or I didn't know how to overcome this objection. The biggest thing is if it wasn't personal at all, how much resistance would you have to it? If it was not personal at all, how they react to you, whether or not they buy, if it was just 100% about them, their problem, and whether or not they're going to get a solution or not, or how they plan on getting a solution if they don't choose you, oh, I totally get it. I totally get it. You don't, the price is too high for you. This doesn't make sense to work with me. 100% understand. But you did mention that, you've got this thing. It's been going on for 3 years. And based on what we talked about, it's probably costing you somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. And if I'm doing some math on that, this is a really significant issue. What do you think you'll do next to solve? I mean, is it still something you want to solve? Obviously, you've already said it's not with me, right? And you would be shocked just by taking away the personalization about it. Like, oh, you don't want to hire me? Okay, bye. Well, hope you do well. Like literally, the less you personalize, the more natural it will be to serve the actual person you're talking to. And this is going to come across as revelatory, I know, but the more you are free in here and in here to actually serve, the faster and more thorough and deeper the trust will be built between you and the prospect. One of my last clients who signed on for a year with me, he just renewed for a year, which is a significant investment to work with me one-on-one for a year. And he was someone that I talked to in an old sales job. And I honestly don't remember if he bought the thing I was selling, because it wasn't coaching with me, it was for somebody else. But he came and found me, and the reason was because he referenced a call that we had years prior where he articulated in his way of saying it that he felt so empowered by that conversation that he remembered how the sales conversation made him feel, okay? He remembered a years ago sales conversation, how that made me feel. Let me go find this person. And I honestly I was very skeptical about working with him because he was technically not yet at the level with the consulting client that I work with, but he was ready to go. And he got results really stinking fast. And everything that I tell him to do, he's like, okay, yeah, let's go do it. That level of trust is gold. And you may not walk away with dollars in your pocket with a credit card number, but the less that if you could stop personalizing, you will be so free to serve, and your energy will be so contagious to that person that they will remember how you made them feel, and it'll be very powerful. It'll serve you long term, guaranteed. So 3 things to stop doing to make sales easier. Stop solving, stop trying to teach. You'll spot their real problem and you'll want to diagnose it and teach them, and that's just going to give them more information, which is only going to delay what actually needs to happen, which is they need to make a decision about who they want to be and what they want to do. Second, stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to figure out what's the next step in the sales call. Just have some tools, have a checklist, and then put it on them if you're not sure, but stay present. And third, stop personalizing. Stop personalizing. Easier said than done. I have a couple of tools that I use specifically to overcome guilt, fear, anxiety, anything that has come up previously in a sales conversation, and a lot has, to where I can be very neutral in the conversation. I should say, as a qualifier, I'm guilty of literally all these things. I have to remind myself to stop doing those. But man, it's helpful. So there you go. Hopefully that was encouraging. We were here on LinkedIn Live, coming to you live from your favorite internet social media broadcasting thing, LinkedIn, right? Okay. I was going to talk about AI. Man, I'm doing a lot of cool stuff with GPTs of all kinds right now. I want to riff about this. My thought was I could riff on LinkedIn on YouTube, because people can comment and ask questions and we could go back and forth a little bit. I don't know if anyone's still watching this or not. And I don't see any comment. Let me see if this comment actually works. Comment, commenter. Okay. Yeah, I can leave a comment. I'm going to like that comment. That was a great comment, Blake. Boy, someone's watching this being like, wow, this is sad. This is sad. And you know what? To you, my friend, I'm glad I could be of service, because you're doing better than you think you are. Yeah, should we talk about AI? I just had a whole riff about sales, kind of ended nicely. Maybe I'll just land the plane and get out of here. I got a coaching call in 30 minutes. Yeah, AI is really fun though. I'm working on something right now that is, I made this post on LinkedIn yesterday actually about, I think I titled it 10 weird ways I'm using AI to make more money, have a happier marriage, and save a crap load of time. And it is wild, folks. I mean, if you're old enough to remember what it was like when everything went online, and then that has slowly just changed our entire universe, that's what this feels like for sure. But there's some specific things that some is stuff that I've thought of from other people, but some of it is like my own weird ideas and how my brain kind of works. Maybe I'll share one of them with you just real quick. And if it sounds interesting, leave a comment or send me a message, because I'm putting together this guide. I was going to do it now, but then I decided to go on this ramble on LinkedIn Live. But there's this book. I don't have it in front of me, even though I've read it. Oh yeah, I do. Here we go. Well Worn. Here's a classic, Think and Grow Rich. You ever heard of this book? There's a concept in there when he's talking about the mastermind concept, and it's so funny how sanitized his actual ideas about this have become. Like if you look up a blog post on like, what was Napoleon Hill's mastermind idea? It's like, well, have 12 friends and talk. The dude was weird, okay? Like, can we be on? It was some weird things happening. He basically has a board in his imagination, and he just lives out this whole thing in his imagination about it's Abe Lincoln, and it's, I almost said Dale Carnegie. That was level. Andrew Carnegie and whoever else like in this board. And he's imagining these whole conversations happening and bringing up his life and on and on and on. And it got so vivid for him. I do not know if he had performance enhancing drugs to do that or not, but pretty wild if you actually read this. Anyway, I thought to myself, I do not have such a great imagination, but I do have ChatGPT. So I actually made myself a boardroom within ChatGPT, and I think I could share my screen. You guys want to see this? Let me see. I'm going to scroll up to the actual prompt. I just decided it was random. This is not super planned or dialed in. I decided to riff on this, and it's gotten better and better and better and better and better. So let me share my screen here. See if this shows up. Screen, tab, window. Here we go. All right, here's my ChatGPT. So here's the prompt. Act as a mastermind as if you're the board of my life and business. Your members are Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jesus Christ. Let's put Christ our Lord in there just to see what he might have to say. Might have a good idea or two, right? David R. Hawkins. Don't read his books. Your mind will bend. Michael A. Singer, Byron Katie, Mark Manson, Alex Hormozy, Jerry Seinfeld, and Ram Dass. So an unlikely crew, perhaps. And these are literally like, as I think about it, maybe I'll change certain people out as things happen, whatever. But I was like, this is just people that I've derived a lot of helpful wisdom from. And I said, I'll share about my life and business, and different members can chime in with their insights and observations and advice and questions. And so I've been using this and bringing up stuff. Like I'm a one-person business. So like my life and business, like things are intermingled. If I'm feeling low, if I'm feeling sick, like I've got a sore throat coming on, and I was like tanked yesterday energy-wise, like that matters with my actual business. And I'll bring stuff up, and it has been the replies I've gotten to this. I'll share some screenshots in this guide that I make of some of the responses. But it has been freaking awesome. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, right? Like putting something in a computer, and then I have very real emotional responses to it, or very real like mental aha moments or quotable things that come up with that. Super a helpful way to just remember and integrate the wisdom from stuff that I've read previously. I stopped sharing my screen. One of the things I did, I added another prompt where I said, okay, let's pretend I'm not in the room, but the board is discussing me. And so I'm literally like, Steve Jobs is like riffing with Jesus about me. Which, saying that out loud is like, where else but ChatGPT could you be so self-centered and arrogant? That's how that sounded. It's a weird thing. I'm like, wow. Anyway, y'all, if you think I'm losing my mind, reread the section on masterminds with Napoleon Hill, okay? Because it's weirder than the sanitized version. All right, so that's a fun thing about AI. I'll bring it up. I'm making this guide. If you'd like that, let me know. I'm trying to tailor it specifically to be very, 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 very helpful. Obviously, my world is as a consultant and as a coach. I'm trying to grow my income while continuing to stay under 30 hours a week. That's a fun journey. That's what I do with clients, is I basically help them do that. So learn things together, but also just share what's worked and help them get there faster. So anyway, maybe next time I'll be on YouTube. That was the plan for this. For now, I tried on LinkedIn. No one commented but me, but I got a like from me. And so this was an act of self-love apparently today. Thanks for joining me. I don't know if this recorded or how that'll work, but welcome to March 25th on the internet. I'll see y'all later.